Pod.
Rugby pod. We are back. And this week, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we'll be covering the Showdown, number 5 in London. I was there, and a big derby win for Quins.
Oh, you sound pumped, James.
Well, I'm not very pumped, but they deserve to win, so I'm not. There's no referees involved, even though Matt Carley was there. He weren't involved. He was involved, but it's not
Adam
down to
Leal
him.
tried to give everything to Sarries in the first half.
We saw
we'll get onto that.
He's a decent bloke, decent handshake, and his toilet got an hammering by Rob Rogan and producer Jimmy there on the day. But I can't believe I'm saying that Quins won, and they did against my Sarries. But we'll also be chatting about the crack that we had in London with some of the big stars coming out to see the action and to see me. And we'll also be talking about the upset that Leicester, I wouldn't say it was an upset when I saw the teams.
Domination,
it was
baby.
a domination. It wasn't an upset by pulling Northampton Saints pants done in the Premiership, and some big games in the URC, Andrew, which you've been all over this weekend, Premier Sports, with the Bulls ending Leinster's unbeaten run.
Yeah, we're also going to be heading stateside for a special guest this week. Peter Bernick joins us. He's the co-owner of the Chicago.
The Hounds.
The Chicago Hounds in the MLR. He's going to join us to talk about the rise of rugby in America, how they're building the game in the sports mad city of, James?
Chicago.
To most people, that's Chicago.
Yeah. They'll find out why we're saying that later on in the episode. We're going to pull it back, peel it back. Sorry.
And how close we really are to rugby crack in the US. So settle back, enjoy, and make sure you subscribed on Spotify.
That's right. We're here in the studio, Spotify.
James.
Andrew.
Good weekend. Lots of work for you. Saracens, big gym show, live on the pitch. Talk me through it.
Well, hanging on by a thread is what I should say.
Saracens as a club or what?
No, Saracens are doing all right. Yeah. They're a team in transition. So
can you say that?
You can say that now. Times have moved on, Andrew. You can now say it's all come back. Full house.
Okay.
So, yeah, they're a team in transition, but I feel like I'm in transition at the minute. I am fucked.
What's wrong?
Well, the fact that Rob Rogan isn't even here today because he was too tired to come down to the studio, having been on the road maybe 3-4 times over the last 2 or 3 months, Rob.
I'm not used to it, though. I'm a
Yeah,
homebird.
he's not used
Priorities.
to it.
I know what he does come down for.
But he has.
It's other business. It's other
Rugby
business.
Rodeo.
Rob.
Rugby Rodeo is here every time. Biggs was here, he'd be here as well, but Biggs isn't here. It's just me and Andrew Good, and it's life on the road, and I'm tired. I am holding on for dear life, but I am a professional, Rob, and I am here in the studio, and I am fucked.
How was it? Because, the big build-up around doing things differently, and that you must have had another gig after the game on Saturday.
At a funeral.
Exactly.
I look like the Undertaker.
Yeah, you did. But good day out.
It was good. I was like, if you referencing my gear to start with, what I was wearing for the Showdown game.
You should have given me a call, mate.
Well, it was
You
all
quoted, just before you get into it, you quoted last week, Andrew Good, I will not be taking fashion advice from you. I bet you wish you did now because you look like the Undertaker.
No,
do you have something to do after the game as well? Or?
No. I had to try and get back, but the travel nightmare was one element that I wanted to lay into that.
Yeah, get into it.
To get to that game, I was up at 3 a.m.
Yes.
Via Stansted, no trains, third world country in Stansted, as you know. And when I got there...
I've never flown from Stansted.
I bet you haven't. I bet you haven't. East side. It's east side, isn't it?
Northeast.
I don't even know.
London, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll get into it. So I didn't look $1 million, but yeah, there was a bit of chaos pitchside, as you would have seen on social medias. Still trying to work out what this whole show thing is, having some of the celebs pitchside, and because it was a Saracens game or Saracens event, however you want to look at it, at the Tottenham Stadium, we kind of got that free reign, which we'd always hoped for at the stadium. And some things went well, some things didn't, but on the whole, it was great to be there.
And it looked great. And I need to know kind of what you did, because the first thing I need to pick up, the boys put a clip out of Mara arriving, and he's got like a double leather bin bag shirt, flares combo on.
He looked hot on many fronts.
Shades on. It's not even fucking sunny, Mara. Take
it
him
might
off.
have been sunny though.
And what I did notice, as he's walked through the tunnel where you are, he gives you like the official handshake.
Yes.
And then he gives Caden Murley, the bro and the hug.
Yeah.
I'm, like,
still a bit of beef, clearly.
Really?
Well, I don't know. There must be. If
I'm
it's like that.
you do not treat my James Hamilton like that.
Well, it could be the case that I am creative advisor, so he's now sees me as hierarchy.
There you go.
So
it's a respect thing.
Yes, it's a respect thing. Yeah. The funny thing is people are talking about these walk-ins, right? Marrow comes in full leather. Hugh Tizard comes in full Saracens gear. He's like, fuck this. He ain't bothered. He's like, I'm not.
The best one, and Rob will like this, Phil Brantingham.
Newcastle.
In his fucking Toon shirt. They've won the No One Cares Cup. I was going to call it the See You Next Tuesday Cup, the old League Cup, whatever it's called. I don't even know what it's called.
It's EPL, is it?
Carabao
Cup. That was the one.
What is that?
First cup they've ever won in 70 odd years or whatever. And I like that actually. He's like, I'm a Geordie. And my boys won last week.
Well, I'm keen on the boys wearing what they want to games, and it's not innovation, albeit it's the innovation in the men's game. But it's so funny, like seeing the feedback that people are sending, like me specifically, whether or not they know that I'm helping Sarries with some of the stuff, or they know that I've been talking about it on the pod. But I know what your reaction would have been to Marrow wearing double leather, sunglasses in, Blade Runner, Wesley Snipes 2.0 into the stadium. You ain't feeling that.
I'm like, what the fuck?
Whereas I'm like, cool as fuck. And I've had a few mates text me saying, what the fuck? And I'm like, cool as fuck. Why not? Yeah. Go on, tell me more.
I know.
I know, obviously, and this is the big thing, right, is the performance didn't match up to the walk-ins and everything like that, and it was a bit of a damp squib.
I suppose my question was, why was all the team walking together and then Marrow's doing his own thing?
He turned up late. He's a skips, mate.
He turned up late, did he?
He's like the Travis Kelce, like LeBron James rugby. He can do what he wants.
Well, okay.
Well, I know you're a traditionalist, Andrew. You are.
But it's just funny, like, you got Jamie George, club legend, ex-England captain. He's, just in normal gears.
No, that was him dressed up.
Oh, was it?
That was him fully dressed up.
He looks all right. Like, he's got a T-shirt on, he's got an overshirt and a pair of jeans. I think
he can't wear double leather, can he?
No,
or double denim.
But he's walking in with the masses, with the lads, and there's Marrow. It's like Marrow's like, get the cameras on me, lads. I'm doing it all separate to the team.
Yeah.
And that, and
So
maybe
I'm all for it.
Yeah, but maybe that was a mirror of the performance.
Oh, here he is.
I don't know.
I know. But look, we're here to talk about it, and it's going to divide opinion, and it's a big shift in our game, and it didn't all work. And TNT were there, and they gave us access, but I could see that they were sometimes uncomfortable with the chaos.
What access did you get?
Well, we got access to the celebrity bit of the pitch specifically.
Okay.
We didn't get access to any players or the Quins, for example, but we got access. We're on the pitch, effectively. And
where could you watch it?
It's a social media stuff. So it's more, and this is what I mean when we're trying to build out what the show is and where it lives in the rugby ecosystem.
Right.
We're still unsure of, because the game wants it, but they don't really know what it is. Like the American parts of the sport, there's no joined up thing with the TV. The dream scenario would have been right, TNT, right, we're here, we're going to throw down to Jim Caden and Anthony Watson. They're with Damian Lewis, or they're with Phil Dunster from Ted Lasso, the celebrities, and have a different perspective on their view of the game. But TNT didn't want to do that. They're doing their own thing. They're now on the pitch. So it's all well and good.
When they come on, do you get moved off?
I moved across, yeah. Okay. so it's working out what it is. And to be fair to Sarries, and they're going through a rebrand at the minute, and it's tough for them at the minute because they are a team in transition, and we saw that on the pitch at the weekend, and we'll get into that. But this is all new. We don't really know. I'm trying to move things forward. Yeah, as you know, back of a fag packet stuff. We've got Rob Rogan and the boys there filming. Rob's never fucking filmed in his life. He's there with fucking 3 cameras.
Is he on his iPhone again?
What were you on, Rob? What camera was it?
A big one.
Yeah,
a big one.
There you go. So that's what I mean. It was great to be there. Before the game was good. They got the DJ, but then they've got the poppy singers, and it was kind of like just a bit mix and match. So I think it's a good blueprint for us going forward, and also a showpiece that social numbers are good, like the celebrities were there, like, all that bollocks that goes with it.
My big gripe over the weekend, and I put it on Twitter, X, whatever you call it, what the hell are we having Derby weekend for the week after the end of the Six Nations, when half the England lads aren't playing?
6-day turnaround for the Northampton lads.
Yeah.
You fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
But that there, and we'll get into the rugby now, but even being there at the weekend and watching the games and seeing the guys come back in and then the fireworks and seeing how people activate on social media, and you've got influencers there from Love Island and like other people. And
do you know all these people? You know, you walk past.
I don't know, but
I keep seeing all these
it's
people
just not joined
pitchside.
up. Like genuinely, the people running the show and running social media and running media teams and content teams and the RFU teams and like trying to join up with the Prem rugby. No one's got a clue what's going on. Do you not think it's great? It's all over the shop.
Yeah.
Do you not think it's mental that there's no central strategy to what's going on?
Just rugby union.
And the fact that there was a game played, a derby game.
Marcus Smith's on the beach in Miami just following up what we did.
There's no Chandler Cunningham South. There's no Finn Baxter. And Sarries, to be fair, clearly saw this for a number of reasons to make top four. The fact that the Champions Cup now for them at Toulon away is going to be extremely difficult. And I thought they made the right decision. If you listen to the TNT lads, they were like, Quins, they're going to get humped, like how devaluing the game, not picking their rock stars. Hey?
Back the youth.
About the youth.
Jamie Benson, my old nudger.
Wicked.
Hell of a kick.
How much fresher?
All three of them.
I know Sarries were 12-0 up in the game.
Yeah.
But how much fresher did Quins? I know they went 12-0 down, but they still look fresher and more joined up. And then the second half, and Sarries look.
Well, I suppose the way Quins have done it is they're built towards this game with the players that they've got over the last couple of weeks at training, and they even at 12-0 down, they were playing the better rugby, weren't they? More joined up.
Yeah.
And then obviously they come through in the second half. They've sent all their England players away. I know Don Brandt didn't really play in the Six Nations, did he? But he was around the squad.
But he didn't play.
Yeah. So they've had this, we're going with this squad. We're going to give our England boys the weekend off. And so they've obviously targeted this game with the youthful looking squad they have. And credit to them. The Sarries boys, yes, of course they're going to want to come straight back and play in that game because it's the big game at Tottenham. If it was Newcastle away, I guarantee they ain't playing. Or Newcastle at home. But Jamie George, Marrow, Elliott, who else from Sarries' point of view?
Nick Tompkins played in that last game.
Tompkins, yeah, Wales, Willis.
Correct.
They've had 8 weeks minimum with Steve, 9 weeks.
So not just physical.
With Steve.
Mental.
And it is, you've been in Six Nations.
The last thing you want to do is come back and go to the well again.
They look fucked.
They absolutely did.
And do you remember a few years ago when everyone said Marrow looked tired and he scored a try and did the celebration where he's sleeping? But they actually looked so fucked. Because the game's got more physical in that 5-year span probably, they looked fucked.
Yeah.
And this is one of the problems with the Premiership at the minute. So disjointed around 2 games here, then another competition. There's been 8 weeks off the Premiership, right? And then you're back in for 2 weeks, then it's the Champions Cup. And this is rugby. This isn't just having a pop at the Premiership. This is the whole thing that we've always talked about in our season. The deal now that all the clubs have signed, the agreement with the RFU in England, is they have to have certain rest periods, which is great for player welfare and all that stuff, but it devalues some of the selections and the games, and Saracens building this up. And, would Marrow told you have liked to have been in Miami with Marcus Smith? Probably not together, but at the end, you get to an end of Six Nations and how intense that is, you need a rest. You need a week off just to down tools, get some R&R, and you're asking them to go to the well again straight away. That's why I don't think, if you're going to have a big derby weekend, it should be later in the season.
So regardless of that stuff, it's the player welfare element to it. I don't think players should be on 6-day turnarounds, regardless. You can't go from an international and play 6 days later.
Yeah.
It's completely ridiculous.
And back-to-back internationals as well.
And that's one part to it. And you're understanding now why everyone's keen, all the players and the agents are keen for this new breakaway league.
Yeah.
You can see why they want to do that.
Just want
more money, less games.
Yeah, and control over when they can play and how they can play. That's a bit negative. But
it's
you look cool as fuck when you're going to be the Undertaker afterwards as well.
Do you think I looked all right? Grade me out of 10.
How are your feet? Because I see your shiny boots and I just know.
They're my comfortable boots.
Really?
I had some pointy fuckers that I was going to wear some cowboy boots, but I thought,
I was waiting for the moan about the mauler's toe.
No, so it's the bunion. It's the bunion and the plate in the foot, which ain't good, but I am flagging at the minute. But no, big shout out to Quins. They did really well in that second half. You mentioned young Jamie Benson here. Where's he from?
Young kid come through, kid.
There you go. And just on
Kicks
Quins,
like a dream.
He was brilliant. He was really good.
I'm saying this youngster, and I didn't know a lot about him, being really honest. I'm like, this is a massive nudge. The way he struck the ball on all 3 of those penalties, which were massive penalties. I'd be there when I was that age. Oh my God, if I miss this, what's happening? Straight up, slots it, boom, clean strike, wonderful.
Yeah, Quins,
Another one I told you to look out for as well.
Oscar Beard,
Yeah, well, he played very well.
Waghorn,
Waghorn.
12-13, very good. Both of them were very good.
I just like him, big unit. You know, looks like he's got a bit of league in him as well. He's not, but he looks like he can be a tough bugger at 12.
And Iskro, my size.
Yeah.
Had no idea how big he is.
Did you not?
I was pitch side chatting to Danny Wilson, and he was talking about how they've had 6 weeks together. After the game, he said this, and probably wasn't expecting that result when he saw the Sarries team.
Yeah.
And we were just looking at some of the athletes. He's like, mate, you want to just see them, how they operate now. And the fact that Iskro's come from that sevens background.
Odds on him.
Argentinian.
Yeah.
And not all of them break through. But
He's a beautiful specimen.
So my point, I don't know.
No.
I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, maybe from afar.
Not my type.
Maybe from afar.
I'm trying to think what my type is. Mine's more Nick David with the scar on his face. But he's what Danny Wilson said. They've been together 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So the back row, Jack Kenningham, I'm a massive fan of. Will Evans, Don Brandt looked brilliant in the back row. Scrum was very good. So a big shout out to Quins is what I'm saying there.
Are you a fan now?
No. I like what they do. I like everything about what Quins do, but Sarries are my team. Not Quins.
Clash of styles and cultures, isn't it?
Both them things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what not always on show at the weekend, but has been on show in recent years. But the magnitude of that game for Saracens now to be in 7th and Quins be up to 4th.
Still close though, isn't it? Well,
Yeah.
you predicted that Sarries wouldn't make top 4.
Yeah. I did say that at the beginning of the season.
So did I.
Did you say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see what happens.
Okay, let's see what happens. But yeah, Prem's back. Wrong time, shouldn't be talking about the Prem this week, but we are because we love our ruggers. So let's part that game, Andrew. Where should we go? Should we go positive? Should we go down to the rec where there was lots of tries, 2 teams that wanted to play? Or do we go negative and go to Franklin's Gardens on Friday night?
It's not negative, the Franklin's Gardens, Cinch Stadium.
Well, yes. Well, is it? Sorry, we need to get. Is it Cinch? Is it? Is that the
Cinch
car thing?
Stadium, yeah.
Yeah, of course. Sold their soul.
Well, let's go Bath, because that was a ding-dong one. Sold
All
their
right.
soul. What have they sold their soul?
Cinch.
Stonex.
I know.
Mattioli Woods, Welford Road.
Doesn't sound good, that one. Scottish Gas, BT Murrayfield.
Allianz Stadium.
That one I can deal with.
There, why?
So because it's short. It's like the Aviva.
Yeah.
It's like the short name.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Cinch. That's
what's
quite
Bath
short.
called?
The Rec.
They're going to sell it soon. The Dyson Hoover Stadium.
Yeah, I mean,
Talking of tired, Finn Russell. That's where he's at his best.
he ain't tired.
Yeah, but that's where he's at his best. When he's had a few beers to let his hair down.
In Paris.
In Paddy.
What do you know?
I don't know anything.
Were you out with him?
No, I came straight home on a jet plane.
True. Saturday night in Paris.
Late finish.
Yeah.
So not only...
How late were you finishing on the Champs-Elysees?
What? Are you making me out to be rock and roll, Andrew?
Yeah.
I'm happy to make some up and say I was out till 4 in the morning.
There you go.
In that same nightclub that me and Tom Evans were in when he was with Victoria Sylvester. You know, the 6'3".
Stunner.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, Finn on fire. And Bath, I'm going to say it now. I can't remember what we called it at the start of the year.
We both said Bath.
I think I might have nudged Leicester in there, just, a bit of...
We both said Bath to win it.
If they don't win it with the squad they've got, they have choked.
I've seen the structure of how their squad's made up, actually.
Yeah.
Which is from the NFL. So they backload payments, so they work out that Finn might not be there.
Backload payments?
Backload or front load.
Oh.
I don't know what it
You're
is.
talking salary cap here?
Yeah, but the
Do you
way
have
they would...
experience here, James?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I have a studio flat in Luton. But how they structured the talent coming in
Yep.
and foreseeing, I was about to say foreskinning.
Yeah.
Foreskinning the talent that's coming in down the road.
Yep.
So if Finn Russell's not going to be there in 3 years, then Carreras' second or third year on his contract can be higher. Not innovation by any stretch of the imagination,
Well, no,
but just quite interesting.
who else has done that?
We should get an agent on to talk about it because the question is around Bath, right? If you've got Detoy in the front row,
Will Stewart, you got the two of the best tight heads,
which notoriously have been the highest paid.
right now in the world.
Yes.
Like they're up there top 5, 6,
That's
7.
a fair point, yeah.
Will Stewart and
Yeah.
Detoy. So Detoy, obviously, starting tight head would be Mal Herber for Springboks, but Detoy would be on the bench probably, wouldn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, there or thereabouts.
Yeah. Will Stewart's England's probably best player during
one off.
the Six Nations.
Big shout that, but one off.
No, but who would have been England's best player? Tommy Freeman, maybe. Finn Smith. Will Stewart. Footwork on him, the belly swerve. He did it again.
Mate, true.
But you've got two of the best tight heads there. Bath, if they keep Finn and Ben Spencer fit, they are head and shoulders on form above a lot of teams with the squad depth they've got. The big thing is if Finn gets injured, we've seen Ollie Lawrence get injured, but Max Ojomo, how good was he? Redpath as well, I thought was class. So I know you need a bit of luck to win the Prem with injuries and form and fitness of certain players, but Bath on paper, you've got Ted Hill and Sam Underhill on the bench. You've got Guy Pepper, friend of the show. How good?
Ridiculous.
Barbary going well.
Underhill comes on.
Yeah. Like they've got a proper squad, and they should be the team to beat for the next few years as well. But it's the whole thing of can they get over? Yeah, they won the Premiership Cup. No one cares. Last week,
unfortunately, true.
But the reality of it is, it's getting the big trophy or one of the big trophies. The two big trophies: the Champions Cup, which they're not in now, and the Premiership. And I genuinely believe, and I'm going to say it. I've said it before. Lee Blackett, one of the best coaches in the game. Hands down for me. Like his innovation, and yes, he's got some great tools to play with, but I think he's a brilliant coach. So they are big favourites, and they played bloody well at the weekend.
Yeah, I know you give Lee Blackett a lot of credit, but
wicked Northerner, wicked coach.
Yeah, well, Northern, I like that. That adds. I reckon that adds 25% to me. But for me, we always talk about Finn Russell, but it's Finn Russell. The way that he sees space, even at the weekend, he's calling the ball 5-10 seconds before he's pointing at the line.
Yeah.
Sonny Bill Williams-esque.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
Offload for the try. Brilliant, isn't he?
There you go. And that quality that you have, Finn Russell, top 3 fly halves in the world, and Bath have got him.
Did you not say he might not go on the Lions tour?
Did I say that? That is not based on mine. You could see it based on someone like Andy Farrell because he wants to pick his son. Rassie won at the weekend, didn't they?
They did, yeah. They did.
I've been keeping up to date with my ruggers.
Yeah, but Gloucester rocked up as well and played some good stuff. Scored a worldie of a try. Seb Blake's try.
He's a good player, he is.
Yeah.
Good player.
I think it was a pick and go out from their own 22 through the ruck by Ackerman, I think it might have been. Then he gives it to Thomas Williams, who, you talk about Finn, it's hell back there. You've got a quick scrum it off and you're covering a lot of the pitch. Thomas Williams just pulls out the
but
right
Finn
footstep.
knew he was going to deliver later on.
Yeah.
You go, son.
Yeah, you have that one. Good try. And, they cut some good lines. Atkinson, the centres, and Harris, I thought played well. Do you know what, tip of the slipper? You mentioned Santi Carreras, who's joining Bath at the end of the season. He was bang up for it. Bang up for it and played really well at 10 for Gloucester as well. So it was good ding-dong. Should we go to Cinch then, James?
I can't do it. If you call it Cinch, I ain't going there.
Franklin's Gardens.
All right.
It's actually called Cinch Stadium at Franklin's Gardens.
Of course it is. That is pants pulled down.
Yeah. Pants pulled down.
Every which way.
But again, you're going back to Leicester have been building towards that game. And, when you've got Andre Pollard playing at 10, he hadn't played for a while. Okay, they had some Prem Cup games or whatever. I know they played Munster last week. Chesham's out injured. The boys, Jack Van Portfleet came back. Yeah, I know he only came in for the last 2 games of the Six Nations. Jack Van Portfleet, I ain't ever seen him play that well in my life.
That's a big statement, but the true statement. I've not seen him play that well in a long time.
Yeah.
The old chip and go.
And that's him back. You remember he was that good prior to his serious injury just before the World Cup. That's him back to proper form.
Needed a spark. Yeah. Maybe that was it.
And Leicester, I know Joe Hayes has come back. He's been away with England. He started. And Leicester obviously needed to go there and get a win. Partly to keep themselves towards top 4. I know they want to push and get the home semi-final if they can. And as a Leicester lad, Jim, player, ex-player, nothing sweeter than going to Franklin's Gardens and winning, right? And actually maybe putting the nail in the coffin of Saints from being champions to not making top 4.
They won it last year.
Yeah.
Short memory.
Yeah.
With Northampton winning it last year. Short memory. And that's maybe because I don't like Northampton. But I do like Northampton. I actually really like Northampton. I like Phil Dowson, Sam Vesti, the coaching team that they've got. Young English heartbeat to the team. And I was chatting to a mate about it when he was like, how did Northampton get beat 33-0 having won it last year? I get that they've had a few players. Leicester have been up and down. I was like, because the demise of their team is through their success. Like Saracens back in the day, where you're producing England players, and with that comes, we saw Ollie Slyham had surgery, so now he's probably out for the season.
Yeah.
And Finn Smith plays and looks absolutely buggered. Tommy Freeman,
he wasn't there.
He couldn't play.
Dinger's played. Fraser Dingwall.
And that's it. It's hard.
And they lost. Do you know what? For Saints, You go back to the team that won the Premiership last year, they've lost half their starting pack, which is where games are won and lost, right? So Courtney Laws has gone, Ludlum's gone, Waller's retired, and Matavesi has gone. I know Curtis Langdon's a very good player, but do you know what? Things went against them a little bit. As soon as the rain came out, their handling errors, and we spoke about, we had Hendy on here, didn't we, after he won the...
Saw his dad the other week.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, he's asking for you.
Big Red?
No, not actually.
Really?
It's not his dad.
Oh, it's not?
He said it was his dad.
Oh, okay. It's just some random...
Well, his mum might be red.
Oh, wow. I've met his mum, actually. She's a lovely woman.
Why are you being so polite and saying red? Say it.
Jean.
The
Jean. And we talked him up. He won the final for him, didn't he, with that try? Poor, I felt sorry for him at the weekend. Everything he tried, there was a knock on, there was a bad pass, there was he made a few errors. But the rain, and this is the thing with Saints, when you add together the fact that you've lost 4 of your big senior, most physical players from that team last year, and then you're chasing the game a little bit on a Friday night, the rain comes down, and you play the Saints way, and you haven't necessarily got that punch. It was difficult for him. And Leicester, fair play, barred up. Obviously Saints did have a lot of possession and put the shapes on, but defensively, and there's been a change at Leicester. There's been some... Matt Everard's left the building.
Yeah.
We're Leicester skins. I know you're Saracens as well, and I had a load of other clubs that have all gone bust now, but that Northampton game is always... It's drilled into you, isn't it, around the big rivalry. And you look at this Leicester team now, Czechs is leaving at the end of the year. Andre Pollard's leaving at the end of the year.
Julien Montoya
is leaving at the end of the year.
Coley.
Is he?
No, he's not.
No. Ben Young's probably leaving. I know JVP's the starting 9 now, but when you start to look at that, they've got a massive opportunity to go and win it this year. And yeah, you've got to beat Bristol and Bath and whoever else makes the top 4 if you can get into it yourself. But some big question marks around what's happening for next year. So they've gone gung-ho into this game knowing that it will push them further up. And yeah, they want to go and get the home semi-final, but they were on their mettle, shall we say, and dominating. And then Coley comes on, looks about 400, but he's given the stick out as well, isn't he? He enjoyed that, the old bull.
He did. Has anyone checked in on Henry Slade?
Oh,
Is
wow.
he alive? Oh, my 52-year-old Bill Matter.
52 stone that he put through him.
Biggest hit.
I've never seen anything like that in my life.
Is he all right or not?
I think he's all right. He failed his HIA, but he stayed on for about 7 minutes after the hit. That's what I don't get.
Well, we don't want to sensationalise someone being knocked out, but that is what I remember from the Bristol Exeter game. Bristol was won 52 points to 38 against Exeter.
What a hit. And it was exciting game, really, wasn't it? Bristol flew. You talk about another one, Grondona, male red card on Maloney, head on head. Just the brand of rugby that Bristol play, and we talked about it a lot. It'd be interesting to see how they go, because I don't think they've got any other way except for we're having a go everywhere. Offloading, Randall was on fire, but you go back to that Bill Matter hit. Exeter at times were threatening good shapes, and that leads to a try, right? That seed from Henry Slade, but oh my whammo. He gets his chest put into next week. And that's the thing. Good question, actually. Do people love those hits? Because he's an inch away from literally...
I'm just watching it back here.
Taking Henry Slade's head off.
I mean...
It's a brilliantly legal tackle.
It is. But ultimately he's gone off with a HIA.
Yeah.
And he's either hit his back of
Like,
his
it's
head
the
on the floor,
whiplashy
or
thing,
the
isn't it?
whiplash.
I mean...
I'm watching it in
it's
slow-mo.
like a car crash, that, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's what I mean. An inch higher, and I know it's a legal tackle, like that's a long ban.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Do you not love that, though? That hit?
Yeah. I do. I'm just second guessing myself a bit. I don't really know.
You're tired.
Yeah, I'm tired.
You're tired.
Yeah, I'm tired.
Have you ever seen a game of rugby where they scored 10 tries in the first half?
I did have a think about you, James Hamilton, during the game.
Wasps.
No.
What? India?
Well, the first half, right, one team scores, other team kicks off, can't sort the kick-off out, so that team then scores, then they go to their kick-off, Van Rensburg scores straight from the kick. No one could take kickoffs.
So what are you thinking of me? Which bit?
Well, the bit where we played England, Scotland, and I've looked for you, and the ball's landed
off my head.
It's off your head, yeah.
Not a knock on Nige. Fucking down.
But it was.
Scrum down. Fuck off, Nige.
But it was mad, wasn't it? 10 tries in the first half. Defence. But I'm trying to work out, is defence optional? Not optional, but has less importance in a lot of these games.
Well, this was the big discussion around international rugby. Remember we were chatting about the way games are won, it's underpinned by defence. And when you have such high-scoring games, which a lot of them were, then 33-0, 50-odd points, 52 points to 38 for Bristol Exeter.
Is it down to the skill level that's gone through the roof of players across the board? So like in our day, you'd have 2 or 3 skillful players in the team, right? Do
you know what I think it is? Can I just say?
Go on.
Answer the question. I think it comes down to quality. I think the Prem are losing some of their best players now, and players in them key positions around defence, defensive leaders to different competitions. I don't know, like who. I'm just saying.
Name names.
Owen Farrell, Jack Willis. Hit me with some more.
Well, it's your statement. I've got.
Is there any more or not?
What?
But there must be a reason.
What? Why defence is? I think it's the skill level of the players, though, and the shapes in attack, and the emphasis that's now on that side of the entertainment industry.
But entertainment, I get that. But there's 2 different games now. The level of disparity.
Fuck. So close.
Between the Prem
Yeah.
and international is bigger than it's ever been. Whereas before it wasn't that big.
Yeah.
Have you seen Exeter's recruitment while we've been focused on the Six Nations?
Hit us, Rob.
Len Ikitau
hell of a
Australia.
Hell of a player.
How old is he though?
Doesn't matter, mate, when you're that good. I'd say Ikitau is 30.
Does he know what he's getting himself into? We heard about their initiation
we did,
by
yeah.
Alex
Can't talk about
Cuthbert, but apparently the lads are fuming because when we did Jack Yendel's testimonial, he gave us some anecdotes, and now we're on the inner circle, the inner sanctum that we can't now share. So we're part of that group now. So we know what goes on with their initiation.
Yeah.
And now we're sworn allegiances. How something bad will happen to us if we share.
We cannot talk about it, but Len Ikitau is 26 years of age.
He's not.
I
He's
thought
in
he
his
was older
prime.
than that.
He's in his prime.
26 years. I'd put him at 30.
He wants to initiate. He wants Pesh.
Yeah. The Exeter Chiefs initiation is danger. Like, just be sick that day, be ill. But yeah, some good signings. Ikitau's. I've always loved watching him play. Proper, powerful. It's like Parisi for Leicester, like big unit of a 13, 12. You know, carries big, offloading game. He'll be big in the summer against the Lions. Ikitau! You know when you listen to an Aussie commentator?
I tell you now, Australian rugby,
On
some
the
of the
rise,
super
mate.
stuff, my word, they are flying
Yes.
in
Lions,
super. So that on the back of that, that's a big signing for Exeter because
Massive.
they need to do something. Rob, who else they got coming in?
Remember Joseph Dweeber? He had a couple of Springbok caps, didn't he?
Dweeber. You call him Dweeber.
You call him Dweeber, I like that.
You call him the Dweeb.
I might have read it exactly the same.
Joseph Dweber, big
He's a good
unit,
player.
dreads.
Hooker?
Yeah, hooker. Can't throw in though. That's what South Africans have held against him.
Well, that could be problematic, then, couldn't it? He can't
He's
throw in, but
muscular.
But looks great, got a great lid, but he can't throw in.
and your main job as a hooker is chucking in.
Well, Exeter need to do something. They stripped out their squad, didn't they, by losing a load of the players, and they've been awful this year.
Yeah.
Results especially. I didn't expect them to be as bad. Who else then? So got Joseph Dweeber coming in, Dweber, Ikitau.
Stephen Varney's gone as well. Italian scrum half, he was at Gloucester.
Yeah,
Do you know I think they tried to get Nick White back.
Did they?
Yeah.
I had the other Gordon from Australia as well. Jake Gordon.
Yeah.
Jake Gordon, yeah.
Yeah, with the mullet.
Interesting
think
that
he's
they're
keen.
going down that route because they've got some good players in their team, like physical players, but like Jacques Vermeulen, Ethan Roots. Who else is physical
Chris
in the team?
Chunza.
Chris
I want
Chunza,
him to
Daffy
be-
Jenkins.
I want Chris Chunza to be a bit more. When you're that big,
Well, he had a bit about him.
fucking give a bit more, son.
He had a bit about him, didn't he? But he's had a few injuries and stuff, so waiting to come back. Yeah, extra been poor. So it's to get them kind of signings, and if you think about the profile of them, physical in key positions. Can't throw, but fuck it. Get the ball in his hands.
He can carry. Yeah, like Jim said, they need to add some quality, don't they? They've got some good young players, but their whole team is, apart from Henry Slade and Scott Seo and Jack Yandel, I'd say they're all good young players, but you need some stardust and experience around you as well. So good signings by Exeter. Chiefs.
Right, Andrew, should we take a break? I'm begging you. From the Prem. I'm loving my rugby at the minute, but let's go
a bit
to
of a
the
lull,
US.
though, isn't it? After Six Nations.
Yeah,
Highs
it does
of
feel
Six
like, I'm
Nations.
glad you said that because I feel like I'm being negative making that statement. But we are going to take a break from the Prem now, and we're joined by a man who's making big moves for rugby stateside. We all know about the big game. Well, there's been a few big games in Chicago already with the Irish, and the All Blacks are going back there in November this year. But now we've got the co-owner of the Chicago Hounds and one of the newest and most passionate voices in Major League Rugby. It's the great Peter Bernick. Peter, welcome to the Rugby Pod, bro.
Hey guys, how are you?
No, it's awesome to have you, mate. Really cool. We were just talking about Australian rugby, and then we saw a few weeks ago that Chris Latham, the great Wallaby, is involved with the Chicago Hounds. How cool is it having someone of that quality? Just a decent bloke.
It's made an amazing difference for us. He's a great coach. He's a great communicator, but really, like, the guys just can't help but listen when he talks. And we've had three pretty good coaches in our 2 years, but man, Chris has done just an amazing job for us, and we're in good shape there.
Great to see Latho doing his thing out in America. But let's rewind a bit and talk about how the Hounds started and how you got involved with the Hounds. I always like the backstory of how something starts up and your involvement, because you're massively passionate about the MLR and rugby in America. So hit us.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting story for me. I'm not a rugby guy by background. We had 8 founders who put the club together, 4 Irish guys, including Rob and Dave Carney. And then 4 guys based in the States, including Welsh International, Darren Morris, James English, who's our CEO and GM of the club, and James coached at Black Rock. And then 2 American guys, Matt Satchwell and Phil Groves, were our first kind of founding partners. And while they had the rugby side covered, they desperately needed capital investors. And we'd been looking at sports investments for quite a while. We met this group through some horse racing connections, and it was a really tight timeline. We met in November, and we had to be playing rugby at the end of January. But
wow,
felt like the opportunity in the MLR was pretty exciting. Felt like the World Cup coming in 31 was too good of a chance to pass up on. And Chicago's got a great rugby culture. We kind of lived on the 2016 Ireland All Blacks game for a lot of years, but thankfully now we get to talk about the 2025 version. And so it's kind of come full circle for us, but we're in our 3rd year. It was an incredibly fast journey, but thrilled to be involved in the club and to be able to do it.
Yeah, it's really cool. And like you mentioned, and you referenced that game, the All Blacks Ireland game, like we even referenced it on the show earlier, especially with the game going back there in November. So in Chicago as a city, Peter, is there an Irish kind of backbone like you find in some of these big American cities?
Yeah, I think there's 2 levels to it. There are a ton of Irish folks who live in Chicago. There's even more that visit. The J1 visa crowd takes over in the summer, which is a lot of fun. But more than that, I think Chicago is a city where everyone feels Irish at various times. St. Patrick's Day, we've got 8 million Irishmen out on the river. So it's a prideful community in Chicago, but it's not a lot of, just first or second generation. There's families that trace their Irish lineage back, generations. It's one of the reasons the Hounds wear green. We wanted to lean into that culture. It kind of shares an ethos with rugby and with blue collar. And so, in addition to kind of the Irish backbone of our club, we've been positioning ourselves to be kind of part of that Irish bid for the World Cup as well. So hosting the 25 game is a huge badge of honor for the city. They've already sold out the Soldier Field, for the game in a matter of hours. And, we're positioning ourselves hopefully to be one of the host cities for the World Cup. And ideally that would be, with Ireland as one of our candidates, if that's the way they do it. So it's a great fit for us. It's been great for the Hounds. And a lot of our fans definitely root for Ireland on those Sunday mornings.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of Scots out there as well, so maybe they can swear allegiance as well to Scotland. But one thing,
a few
Peter,
less in Chicago, but we're happy to embrace anything.
Yeah, but one thing I've noticed when I've been out there, Peter, I've been out a few times and not done a massive deep dive into the MLR, but met some of the owners, potential investors. And one thing I've realised, and this will be great for our listeners as well, which is largely kind of UK and Ireland. Yes, we are global, but there can be a negativity around the game and the amount of money in the game. But spending time in the US, there's actually a real appetite from some wealthy people to align themselves with rugby union.
Yeah, I think it's a different culture here. Professional sports in the US has become a massive business. Rugby is not a sport that has attracted the same dollars as any of the other major sports in the US, but that makes sense on some level. At the same time, we don't have the strong history or the backing of our union in the same way that a lot of the kind of European or Sanzar nations do. And so we're building rugby kind of alongside USA Rugby, and in partnership with, but without, having the full coffers from there. And so without investment from kind of private individuals, and our league has some great owners, but almost all of them come from pure rugby backgrounds. They either played or they've been supporters. Many both. We were probably a part of the first group, or me, I guess, was part of the first group that was purely in this from an investment lens. And at the same time, while I'm definitely quote unquote one of the money guys in the sport, we don't invest just because it's a financial opportunity. It's because we think rugby has such a great opportunity in the US. And I think the market for it is kind of bifurcated. There's this top end market where you see the Ireland All Blacks game selling out in a few minutes, or you have New Zealand come to San Diego and play Fiji, and it's a huge crowd. And then our games are still really in the infancy of their growth stage. And what we're trying to do is build a league that captures like the diehard rugby fan, but also the new fan who's never seen it before. And it's a challenge, but we're up for it, and we're making progress.
Yeah, that's cool.
And how do you marry that up then? Because ultimately the big headline will be, and everyone's seen it, the fact that it's sold out. Ireland, New Zealand sold out in a record time. But also you want to be able to capture that and get them behind the Hounds and grow MLR. And I watch a lot of rugby across the globe now. They've just released some rights in the UK for the MLR to be on TV over here with Premier Sports, and I'm not disrespecting it, but you need to see more people in the stadiums. How do you transfer all those people that want to go and watch the Ireland All Blacks game to getting more people, bums on seats, watching MLR?
Yeah, it's the biggest challenge we have. I think if you were to ask players who'd come over and played in our league, they're surprised by the level in that it is pretty good. But I'm not sure that the kind of global rugby populace can see that or respects that necessarily yet. It's really physical, but maybe the skill level is a step behind. But I think our biggest kind of weakness at this moment is that we aren't necessarily as good of operators as we are business folks or just champions of the game. And I think some of this is execution. I think we need to be better at putting butts in seats, regardless of how we get them there, because I think the product is actually quite good. If you look at other American sports, they have many more years of tradition. But like a basketball game in the US will have 45 or 50 different activations, whether it's cheerleaders or dancing or t-shirts being thrown out. And they need all of that because the game, frankly, doesn't take place for very much time in the 2 hours. The NFL is even worse. What's fascinating to me about rugby is that ball and play is actually quite a lot versus American football. And yet all I hear from the global rugby community is how we need more ball and play. And so like there's an embarrassment of riches in an 80-minute game that maybe takes 2 hours total with a break. The ball's moving for 35 minutes in a good game. In an NFL game, it might be 10 or 11 minutes. And so our belief is that once people come to see a game, they come to the next one. We give them opportunities to meet our players, our coaches, take pictures, come out on the field. But it's just been a slow build, and we're working on everything in our power to try to kind of quickly and exponentially grow our fan base, because you've nailed it. When you watch it on TV, the first thing you notice is the crowd and maybe the quality of the production. And so we're working on all that, but it's a slow build, and I'm not satisfied with how we've done so far. That starts with Chicago, because I can only really control our product, but we've got some great fans, but we don't quite have enough of them in the building yet.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it takes time to grow. You've only been going 3 years, right? So you mentioned something earlier. You're obviously, from a business perspective, inverted commas, money man. And I mean that as respectfully as we've all dealt with owners that are the money men. Some people do it for passion. Some people do it being really negative as a bit of a tax write-off. But you sound to, or seem and sound like you're doing it because you want a return on investment. And how do we get more people in the game like you then that can have that vision and see it across America, UK, and across the globe?
Also being at the top table as well, Peter. And this is the thing, just to kind of piggyback Goodey's thing there, and this is why I said from everything that I've seen in the US, there's people that financially want to invest in the game, but if you're working in the same kind of structures and lines where rugby is, and all the issues are with rugby, that we're not joined up, and we know that there's issues with USA Rugby and World Rugby, but if we're looking forward to the 2031 World Cup, like how do we utilise people like you and people across the world like you to have a bigger influence on growing the game in the US, which is obviously going to help us grow globally?
No, quite a lot there. I'll try.
Yes, sorry, we tend to do that.
Put you on the spot.
We sometimes answer the questions as well.
That was a quick and simple question, guys. Thank you. Let me start with kind of my perspective. I am definitely in this as a return on investment person, but not to maximize my immediate type return. I believe that the good thing about investing in sports is success on the pitch, success on the balance sheet will also grow the game. We're in a position where we're trying and expecting to invest capital into the business for years to come before we see a return on investment. We're prepared to sink money into it. And we want to build the asset value and the equity value of the team. But that comes from filling the stadium, because that comes from selling more beer, more merchandise, more tickets. And that's where our revenues come from. When the stadium's full, then people want to start, watching more of the games on TV. Frankly, we want people to bet on the games. We want fantasy rugby to take off in the ways that fantasy football has. And so the good news is that the correlation between growing the game and being successful as an investment, should be aligned. With that said, it is not, solely about bottom line. I don't think you can save your way to growth. I don't think you can cut your way to a profit in this sport. I think there is more desire to invest in rugby than there are operators who know how to do this well. Without, James English, who had run an MLR team and had coached abroad, without Darren Morris, who had played at the highest levels, without Rob and Dave Carney, who said, the US is worth kind of a punt, after playing hundreds of games in URC or for Ireland, I wouldn't have believed it. And I can kind of evaluate an investment, but I couldn't have run the rugby operation in any way without that backbone. And so part of what we're trying to do at MLR, and I think frankly should happen at club rugby across the globe, is make it easy for investors to come in, because the operations side is covered and the rugby side is covered. If it's just a financial commitment, people love the opportunity to own a sports team, and rugby is pretty approachable versus the other major sports in America. I mean, the Boston Celtics just sold for $6.1 billion.
Yeah, so
I'm pretty sure you could buy every rugby club and every rugby union on the planet with those dollars. And I'm not saying that disparagingly. It's an undervalued opportunity in sport. And so, can you kind of franchise the concept of running the clubs and of building the rosters and of getting people in the stands? And if so, the dollars will come. There's not a lot of people that own NBA teams or NFL teams that have any idea how to build a football or basketball team at this point. They're in it because it's a safe investment. It's an incredibly fun asset to be a part of, and they've grown in value. Rugby has the opportunity to do the same, but it has a lot of internal issues that we're working through, whether it's kind of the union versus the club game versus the international game, the competition for players. There's a lot that we're striving to fix, and MLR is, not exactly nailing it either. Like we're 2 steps forward, 1 step back, as a lot of fledgling leagues are, but we're committed, and we're pushing to 31. But man, it's going to be a long 5 or 6 years to get there, and there's a lot of tough yards ahead for all of us. I worry about how rugby fans seem to be the biggest critics of the game. They get in their own way a lot of the time, and they don't celebrate a lot of what makes it so great. And there's a lot of kind of complaining amongst the rugby fan about kind of the product or about the game itself. And I think that noise gets pretty loud to new fans too. And And so I don't think we should all be cheerleaders, but I do think sometimes rugby is its own biggest enemy in terms of its growth.
A great point.
Well, it's a great point. Yeah, I have to have a look at myself in the mirror now.
You do, Andrew.
Yeah,
We're looking at this. I am what they call a cheerleader, Peter,
Yeah.
if you didn't know that already.
There you go. Peter, you mentioned then about post-match and, we'll come on, mention the documentary in a minute. I'd have been your MVP in post-match drinks every week. I wasn't very good at rugby, but I honestly, in the bar, I could neck a lot of pints.
You still can.
That's one of the best things about owning a rugby team is like I feel like I can compete with the guys at that level.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't run, I can't jump, I can't lift weights with the guys. But man, when it comes to like, a few beers after the game, I fit in really well.
You're winning.
I've got that part covered.
There we go. Tell us a little bit about the documentary then. United States of Rugby. I know it's out over there. It's coming out worldwide over the next couple of weeks. I want to hear a bit more about that. I love a documentary.
Yeah, look, I do too. And there's one of the first things I did when we bought the club was start watching the rugby documentaries that I could find. Maybe I've missed a few of them, but the ones that I saw,
there's maybe one.
I didn't think were great. I watched Drive to Survive like everybody else and watched how it launched F1 in the US and felt like rugby was ripe for a behind the scenes look at the sport that could engage fans that maybe hadn't seen the sport before. And we gave just incredible access to a very good production team. They shot with us for the whole second year we were in. Obviously, the beauty of unscripted is you have no idea what the season's going to bring. We had an incredibly up and down season. We made a coaching change in the middle of our season, which is not something we expected to do. We ended up going from a 3-13 season all the way to a conference final. And it was, the rugby itself is gripping. The humans are more interesting than I think people know. And the quality of a good film crew and production can really bring you under the hood. And we think we've done a good job of it. It's always like I'm more critical of my own work than I am of others. And I will admit to hating it the first time I saw it. And now they've done such a great job of getting it up to the level that I think the audience needs. And we're about to air our 6th episode on Roku in the US this week, which is the final. And I'm proud of it.
I'm sold. I'm sold.
That'd be really good. Yeah, our producer Rob Rogan.
Trip.
Yeah, he's not been as far as Dublin. That's it. Dublin's the furthest he's ever been. So, but that's awesome, Pete. It's awesome to have people like you in our game, mate. And good luck for the rest of the season. Say hello to Di Morris. We know Big Di from our days at Leicester as well, and James English. I know him really well. I did some stuff with him at New York as well. He's a good dude. So you got some wicked people involved.
Thank you. Appreciate being on, and happy to meet you guys. It's been great.
Top lad. Yeah, I'm now a hound. Do the hound thing. Oh. I can't do that very well. I love that though. He's honest, like he said. It's an ROI, return on investment, but not in the short term, and he can see growth.
Well, he did make another good point as well, and chat to a few owners. It's like rich people and successful people want to own a sports team. A cheaper way to do it is in rugby, because I think it's a sleeping giant as a sport. So if you've got people who are seeing, right, okay, hang on, you can buy a rugby team for what? Yeah. It just needs more people, not necessarily with loads of money. Yes, that's part of it, but actually people with different viewpoints about different sports. And the American thing, I'm all on that.
You love an American
but
story
also
now, don't you?
The MLR, it's everything, which the issues we have in the UK.
It's now in the MLR.
Now in the MLR with the hierarchy and whatever you call it. What are these words?
Bureaucracy.
What else?
Hierarchy.
Old schools.
Oh, yeah, just
fucking. Do you know what I mean?
Noises.
Yeah, anyway.
But you're right, with the 2031 World Cup coming up, we need to align everything.
Yeah, they've got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
But we can go out there.
We'll be there.
We'll be there.
We can go there. We can go to San Diego. We can go to LA. Chicago. First and foremost, we're Chicago Hounds.
England Red Roses take on France in the final round of the Guinness Women's Six Nations at Allianz Stadium on the 26th of April. So come and cheer us on as the reigning champions, feel the electric Six Nations atmosphere and get ready to party with Riddle kicks at half-time. So it's the ultimate day out. You can get the tickets from £25 for adults and juniors from only £5. Just head to englandrugby.com/tickets.
Bargain, if I don't say so myself.
It is.
For the people who don't understand why we keep saying Chicago,
Chicago,
that is one of my best and worst moments on the Rugby Pod ever.
It was hilarious. Give the listeners, the newer listeners, the details.
Well, we were doing segments and we had different things like Japan Through Jim's Eye, also known as
Jim's Jap's Eye,
which was a guide to people heading to the World Cup in 2019 around Japan. And off the success of that, we were like, right, we should do a weekly segment where it's non-rugby or funny.
Yeah.
So it was completely impromptu. We were like, why don't we do riddles?
Yes.
And then because of my creative mind and my love of music and poetry, we came up with a segment, riddle me this, riddle me that. This is Jim's segment. Now, peel back. And for the listeners, that noise of nostalgia, they're laughing already.
They are.
So we'd get riddles sent in. Andy Rowe back in the time would be reading them out and I'd try and work them out. And my brain works in special ways. But I just can't unpack fucking riddles.
Well, it was what's half chicken.
Oh, specifically on the riddle. Go on then, you go
I'm
this.
trying to remember what it was now. It was, what is 3/7 chicken, 2/3 cat, and half a goat? Now you know the answer.
But at the time, it was, so
You were like,
let's
what?
recreate it, because I'll try and break it down now, because even, obviously I know it now, but even you saying that, I'm finding it confusing. So what is
3/7 chicken,
chi?
2/3 cat,
Ka?
and half a goat.
Go. Chi. Chi. Ka. Go.
You said that about 7 times.
Chicago.
Chicago.
Just could not work it out.
No.
I couldn't work out that a place would have been a thing in that context. So when I watched it back and people are fucking pissing themselves.
It was hilarious.
At it. Should we do one last riddle for good old times?
No, let's not do a last one. Let's just do one.
Okay, let's do
And
one
say
then.
we might bring it back.
Let's see. No, because this made me look like a complete idiot.
We might bin it off.
Rob, do we have a riddle or not? Do you know what I'm really good at?
What's that?
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Yes.
Four
To get to £1,000.
answers
No, not even.
to choose from. I'm great at guessing.
Oh, really?
I am a wicked guesser.
I watched it last night, actually.
Multiple choice. Right then, lads. Let's do the jingle. Let's bring it back. Okay, riddle me this, lads. Riddle me that, Rob. Peel back. Hit me.
Nice. Right, James. You ready?
Yes.
I give milk and I have a horn, but I am not a cow. What am I?
I give milk. So everyone gives milk, or the female.
Whatever this is,
gives milk.
It gives milk.
I give milk.
Yeah.
And I have a horn. Is that like a horn or is that horny? So it could be a woman. I give milk and I have a horn.
A man
I'm
can be horny as well, James.
Yeah, but a man can't give milk. I know they could a couple of years ago. They can't now. They can't now. All right, okay. But I'm not a cow. So I'm thinking like these words all link up to a woman. Milky, horny, cow.
Wow.
Yeah, a bit loose back. But, we have these conversations. What am I? So I give milk and I have a horn. Fucking hell.
I give milk.
Yes. You could give milk with the size of your udders at the minute.
Mate, these are
do they
pectorals.
drip when you see babies or not?
No, these are good pectorals, James.
Does that happen to normal women? Like, if you're, is it only your kid that needs to be close? Anyway, I'm going off to give milk.
Yes, James.
I did see something in the news last week.
Really?
Where there was a baby. It might have been an animal. It might have been someone took in an animal and breastfed the animal,
Okay.
but not a woman, like another animal
What the
took
fuck
in.
are you watching? Is this your algorithms on
Algorithm is
socials?
absolutely buggered. Right, keep fit because I haven't got it. So I give
milk and I have a horn.
So let's break down that bit.
Yeah.
Because it clearly, with it being a riddle, it's got nothing to do with someone giving milk or horn. Rob, can you nod to me? I need something.
It gives milk, James.
No, mate,
It says, I give milk. So don't think, that means it doesn't give milk. It says, I give milk.
Okay.
So milk is involved in this scenario, James.
Yes.
And I have a horn.
It's like a rhino horn.
Well, I can't say yes or no.
You can.
I can't.
So a rhino horn.
Okay, don't think of a rhino horn.
Okay, a horn. Horn.
Here we go.
Okay.
But I am not a cow. What makes that noise?
Elephant.
You nearly did it with your hand as well.
I give milk. Trumpet. Saxophone.
What?
I'm trying to think what makes the fucking noise.
What has a horn? Here we go.
A car.
Here we go.
I give milk. I'm not a cow. I give milk. A car.
Not a car.
A milk car. A milk float.
A milk float. Yeah, a milk truck.
A milk truck.
Yeah, a milk
Okay.
float, milk truck. You don't see any anywhere. Does anyone have milk floats and the milkman?
Well, that's a bit hard.
How's that hard?
I used to rob the milkman when I was younger.
Did you really? Did you get the
Not
bottle of orange
not
juice?
all the time,
Did
no.
you get the bottle of orange
No,
juice?
it's just used to, when I was delivering the papers.
That's
I
one one.
used to live on beans on toast, just sort of chopped it, left it back on there. Good honesty, right? Good honesty.
Go and pay that milkman
But I
back.
actually think about it. When I was younger, not only did I was surviving. I was in survival mode.
Yeah.
I was a thief. Did I steal milk? But you know, like the newspapers you used to get for free.
Yeah.
That no one wanted.
Which ones?
It's called the Y magazine.
Okay.
Back in Cov.
Yeah.
And you used to get thousands to have to deliver them to everyone.
You just put them in the bin.
I used to put them in the recycling bin.
There wasn't recycling bins back then, James.
I used to put them in the bushes and steal milk.
And so you've done your job.
I think about that sometimes. So if I go home, if I go home sometimes, I actually have a really bad conscience. I'm like, I fucking stole milk when I was
Oh,
younger.
no.
I was desperate. Anyway, a milk truck.
There we go, milk truck. Riddle me this, riddle me that. Jim will solve it.
Peel back.
Should we look at some URC?
Yeah, let's do
let's
it,
have a-
Rob. Let's do it.
Let's look at URC. It's all over for Leinster. The winning run is now gone
Yeah.
to the same place they lost at last year. It was a strong Bulls team against Leinster, pretty much under 14s though, to be fair.
Yeah.
And oh my scrums. But Leinster were good.
Well, the only names that you look down the line for to see if they mean business when they've come out the back of a Six Nations or international window.
None of them are playing, are they?
But is RG playing? So is RG Snyman playing?
Yes.
And is Geordie Barrett playing?
It was the under 14s plus those two,
There you go.
effectively. And
So
that's been a bit
there's-
harsh. Max Deegan played, to be fair, as well.
Yeah, there was a few. Slimany played as well
Yeah.
in the front row.
And they played some really good shapes. Last time they lost, I think, in the league as well was the Bulls away. In terms of the league
Place to
game.
go
Yeah.
and play. Out of all the places in the URC, Adam might say going to Italy is harder. I would say the Lions, because you don't really know what you get in, and there's not a load of superstar names, so it's not like you're playing against Ebenezer, but these lads are fucking monsters.
Yeah.
And it's boiling hot. But also going to the Bulls in Pretoria. Oh my word.
Well, you say that, James, but Glasgow did it and won there last year, didn't they?
There you go.
In the
Just show-
finale.
Yes, and it shows how good Glasgow must have been to do that.
I don't think. I mean, Leinster will be more bothered about losing the unbeaten record. Do you reckon that's the thing? How cool would it be to go unbeaten the whole season and win the whole thing? Some would say not cool because it's pure domination. But you got to credit the Bulls. The scrum was silly good. Glasgow. Then let's move on to them. Good win, good game against Munster. Munster, who sent the Shags.
Yes.
Because of the whole Six Nations Ireland boys, they lost to Leicester away last week in a friendly game. But they put up a good show. But Carstein, how good. How good to see him
Good
back
to see him
properly.
back, yeah. He's a brilliant player. We've said that. Glasgow captain. Would have been a big loss for Scotland just being in the environment as a player. I thought he was in and around there. But wicked player.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
Yeah.
I love a story. His dad, I've said it before.
Go on.
Nelson Mandela's bodyguard.
Yes, you did say that.
Yeah, so I'm just like throwing in that every time, and I will continue to do so. So, yeah, Stafford McDowell was in the centre. Carl Rowe at 15 as well. Cantieleri's been brilliant for Glasgow as well. So, yeah.
Is Kyle Stern back yet, Jim?
He's back this week. He was back.
He carved up.
Yeah, he carved up and been out long-term injury. And we were talking about it, Rob, when we were up in Glasgow. Outside bet for the Lions.
Do you think?
I
Big
like
shout.
him. I
Big
think he's
shout
really
in a
good.
very congested position.
Yeah, it is.
But he's a cracking player. He's like an 8, 9 out of 10.
Every week.
8.5 every week.
How many wingers do you see that are a captain as well?
There you go.
I
And
can't think
was
of any
like,
others.
no, wasn't sure. But yeah, brilliant player. Good to see him back. Big win for Glasgow.
Munster will be
At
frustrated.
home.
Munster will be very frustrated. 25-14 up with about 12 minutes to go. And then 2 late tries from Ferguson and Macbeth to win it from 28-25. Should we do in other news,
In other
James?
news, let's do it. In other news.
In other news!
Yeah, there's a few transfer rumours, and Rob Rogan, I don't know if this one is true, but I'm going to read it out anyway because it's in there. Finn Smith
To Leicester?
I can't even say it. I can't even
to
say it.
Tigers?
I could see him going to Leicester, maybe not, but this one's ridiculous. But it says in here, Finn Smith linked to Toulouse.
No.
No,
I can't see that.
Roman Intermac, Thomas Ramos,
yeah.
Blair Kinghorn.
Yeah, they've got options, but
It'd be fucking amazing if he did.
oh, it would. Or Leicester. Leicester need a 10. His agent is obviously.
And why not?
Show me the
He's
money.
a hot property at the minute. If I was Saracens, I'd go all in on him.
You said that last year, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. And the backlash that it got. And
Are you going to go all in now you're at Saracens? Do you have sway on that stuff in your new role?
Maybe.
Really?
Maybe.
Whoa.
I'd love to see him there.
A great player. Lovely
brilliant
as well.
player. And the thing is now, with the profile of young 10s, and there's not many, Marcus Smith's now off
where?
off the market.
Oh, right. It's staying at
with
Quins.
Quins. Conversations around Owen Farrell being at Racing, but everything that I'm hearing that he wants to say
going to see out his
and
last
see
year.
out his last year, which is an Owen Farrell thing too. If he walked from a contract, you'd be like, that's very unlike Owen Farrell.
But also, there will be a frustration for him that he
has been questioned.
And he's been injured a lot this year, so he'll want to prove a point. And he's back fit. He came off the bench at the weekend, actually. And they won away at Clermont.
Yes, big win for them. I did see that. Keep up to date with the scores.
There you go.
Where are you telling him to go?
The best thing for him is to stay at Northampton.
Yes, it is. Or Saracens, because
No. The best thing for him is to stay at Northampton.
Why Northampton?
Because he's playing with Mitchell.
I know,
He's 9. He's got Dingwall. He's got Freeman.
Freeman.
He's got Furbank. He's got Slightholme. The crux and the makeup of the England backline pretty much now.
Go rogue, Finn.
Go rogue. Go to Leicester, Finn. I'll get you there. Leicester Tigers. They need a 10. Andre's off.
Go rogue. Talking of rogue, Richie the Rabbit.
Richie the Rabbit?
Richie the Rabbit in Australia.
Yeah.
I put it on the group chat because I was pissing myself. So the Rabbitohs.
We're going
bit
league.
Rugby League. We're going
Yeah,
a bit
we're
Rugby
going
League.
league, yeah.
The mascot. It says allegedly punched a 9-year-old after they lost to Sharks.
As long as it says allegedly, we're covered.
Okay, Willie allegedly basically filled in a 9-year-old kid when they lost to the Sharks, and it's all over social media.
But the 9-year-old kid's bigger than him, though.
That was the thing. So I'm seeing, I'm like, what the hell? Like, hang on, a mascot's filled in a little kid, and then you've seen the mascot. Poor lad.
But he's a legend there, apparently, at the Rabbitohs. He's been the mascot for a long time, so...
What about the interview? He's getting an interview. He's got beans on toast all down. His T-shirt. If they sack me, they sack me. I love my job. But yeah, that's happening in Australia. They're mad in Australia at the minute.
Yeah.
They're mad for the rugby, aren't they?
They are. And they're trying to get some rugby league legends to play as well. Trying to nick a few more leagueies. Mate, I'll tell you, the Lions tour is going to be great. Australian Super Rugby team stepping up as well.
4 teams in the top 6.
There you go, James.
Super Rugby.
Yeah.
I didn't know that until Rob told me that.
Led by the Reds. Reds are going well.
I've seen some of the stuff online, and not only physical, offload.
Yeah.
What do they call it in France when they go straight? Donlax.
Donlax.
A bit of Donlax is happening
Yeah.
over there as
Donlax.
well. How good.
Yeah.
Are we going to Australia? I don't even know do we know if we're fucking in Australia or not? Bet keeps asking me. I'm
so
just
do I,
like,
yeah.
je ne sais pas.
I
I don't know. But if it is, it's work.
It's
That's what
always
I've said.
work, mate. Everything
Do
we
know
do
if
is
we're
work.
going yet?
I hope we go. How long you got?
I reckon I've got 2 weeks in the summer, and then it's building a house and need to take the family away somewhere.
Yeah, take them to Australia.
We've thought that, but it's
not warm.
winter,
Yeah.
which is a boiling summer.
Yeah.
in Scotland. I might do.
you
Australia.
go.
There's a few conversations
Here's
happening.
another one for you in other news.
In other news,
You'll like this one. You'll get excited by this one.
I think I know this one.
Rassie, my brew. Rassie Erasmus. Doing his own podcast.
This is the only competitor I feel like I'm worried about
Really?
that could take up the mark. No, everyone's doing. There are loads of other people doing podcasts.
Well, I go back to the messages I had with Rassie. Remember when I stuck up for him about his video and all that stuff,
Yeah.
and he's like, he messaged me direct going, "Thank you for telling the truth and spitting facts."
But he hasn't texted you to the last 5 messages you've messaged.
But I
him.
was like, "Mate, can you come on the pod and talk about it?" It's like, I can't, my brew. And then, obviously,
Something's talking to Bruce. Something was brewing.
yeah. What do you reckon, Rassie on the pod?
I've listened to some bits of it.
Have you?
His own podcast, and this
Good.
is Rassie, very good.
Afrikaans,
he
English,
looks well.
bit
No,
of both.
English. Felix
He looks
Jones.
like he's lost a bit of timber. Eh?
Looks healthy.
Yeah.
And I think there was it's not for me to say there was concerns over Rassie, but you saw some videos of Rassie about, you're like, fucking hell, there is a man that is grafting and is feeling the pressure of
A nation.
A nation, yeah, in the role that he's in. And the Chasing the Sun, everything we spoke about that, about how good that was. And Rassie was involved in production, executive produce, has to sign everything off. Clearly a creative, like my good self. But he's a lot more than that.
We should do a quid pro quo. He comes on ours and we go on his.
I think he'd add more value to ours than
we'd add to his.
We'd already.
He's got
talk of South Africa anyway.
He's got the South African super fan in you here.
I know, but I've seen some of the stuff. It looks great. Well, everything that you think off the back of the Chasing the Sun doc.
Yeah.
If Rassie Erasmus is involved,
he can do anything.
He can do anything. It looks great. And you know what? This is the change. So we spoke about the changes at Saracens at the weekend and all of that stuff. How many coaches have you seen do podcasts?
None.
There you go. How many podcasts? Host a podcast?
None.
There you go.
Rassie's the leader.
Rassie is the pioneer.
Well, after us.
I think we should finish things up with the good, the bad, the ugly. I think
we should.
Yeah, let's start things off with the good then. And Cardiff and Matt Sherratt get a shout in the good. They beat the Lions 20 points to 17 at home. Moving on, Glasgow in the URC 28-25 thriller over Munster. And the Bulls, we mentioned the Bulls. Big shout out to the Bulls boys, ending Leinster's unbeaten run 21-20 with a huge kick to win it from a mega scrum with the last kick of the game. So shout out to the Bulls boys. What else was good? Aussie Super Rugby teams, as we spoke about, James, led by the Reds, who beat the Highlanders. The Reds are now 4 from 5. So big shout out to Les Kiss and all the Reds boys. I think Brad Davis, my old coach, is there as well. Yeah. Legend of a bloke.
Yeah, a few legends over there.
Yeah. The Crusaders.
We need to get to Australia.
Yeah,
just meet with the legends.
I've got only fly business day. It's a long way.
Well, yeah. Wherever you go, I go, remember? Because I know that you're only going, well, Qatar are going to fly us there, apparently.
Oh, there we go. The Crusaders get a shout out in the good. They spanked the Blues in Auckland 42-19, the old rivals. Crusaders are back. We hammered them last year, first year without Razor. They are running riot this year, so big shout out to all the Crusaders. Bath get a mention in the good this week. Their run continues. They are top and look like the favourites with their victory over Gloucester. And now I'm stuck, James. I can't give it to Quins. I'll give Quins a shout out in the good. They beat Saracens, as we know, at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. First time they've beaten Sarries away in 13 years. That gets a shout out. But the good this week goes to one team. Leicester Tigers.
Leicester.
33-0 spanking of your nearest and dearest, your rivals, at Cinch Stadium, Franklin's Gardens for you, Jim Hamilton. To push them further up the table. Sat in third now, quite nicely. The bad, few bits of bad. Saracens look tired second half, James. A bit of a capitulation. I feel bad saying it, but I've said it.
You have.
Is that okay?
Don't second guess yourself.
Okay, I'll move on. Mate. I'll move on now. The Blues, they are having an awful start to Super Rugby. Got spanked by the Crusaders, as I said just before. But the bad this week, it's very similar to the good, but the opposite. I've got to hammer the Saints. I was phoning James Wootton, head of commercial there, from my sofa on Friday night, FaceTiming him. He's in the stadium and he's raging with all his staff. But
we've given the stadium shout out a few shout outs.
So we'll stick him in the bad. Who doesn't score a point at home on their own patch in the East Mids derby? Well, Northampton Saints lost 33-0, skid marks on show, knock-ons galore, Vesty picking his nose.
Maybe he didn't pick his nose. No, he didn't eat it.
He didn't eat it this time. He's too clean.
Power.
Yeah. So Northampton Saints, you get the bad this week. And then the ugly, couple of bits of ugly, actually 3.
All right.
Bits of ugly. We're going to start off with Moses Tuipulotu, Sioni's brother. Shoulder charge on Menoncello's head. He got a straight red. Over to the Bulls, Sebastian de Klerk gets a shout out in the ugly this week. He took someone out in the air, I think it was Osborne, and landed on his head, so he got a red card. But the ugly this week goes to Santiago Grondona, James, for his head-on-head booming to the face of Martin Maloney, who flinched but didn't flinch because play carries on and Exeter scored a try and he's just got blood pissing out his face everywhere. So Grondona, he got a red card and the hit was pretty bad. So that's why Santiago Grondona, he wins the ugly.
Here.
Shout outs to finish.
We're going to start off with a sad one, actually. We're going to give a shout out to Slammin' Sam B, who's a young rugby fan that showed an incredible fight against acute lymphoblastic leukemia. His dad, Barney, has launched Rugby versus Cancer to rally support for families facing the same battle. Check out slammingsamb.com, the website, to get involved and show some love and support. So keep smashing it, Sam.
Yeah, keep smashing it, mate. And like I said last week, in all the sadness, and there's a lot of sadness, especially when it comes to these terrible diseases. On the flip side of that, there's people out there raising money, and that's what this one is. It's a massive shout out to the University of York men's and women's rugby teams. They've got 50 runners taking part in Will Findley's blood cancer run this week after hearing about it through the pod, which is really cool. And also a big congratulations to the men's team on winning their Bucks League. They all love the pod. They said that, not me. Go well, lads and ladies.
Go on, the lads winning the league.
And the ladies. All right,
well
then, let's do it.
Go on, York men's and women's.
Let's be having you. You know, I said that on the pitch at the weekend.
Did you?
I actually fucking said it on the pitch.
What are you doing?
There was no fans who would like walk around the game. You got no fans. So I was like, where are you? Let's be having you, Rob. How bad?
Yeah, Caden Murley didn't even know who you were on about.
He didn't even know Delia Smith.
Didn't even know who Delia Smith was.
Well, we educated him, but yeah, that was embarrassing. Talk about being cool. That weren't cool.
No.
Funny though.
And finally, a shout out goes to Castle Carey RFC in Somerset and club captain Liam Atkins, also known as Half Shag, who slotted the conversion in the last play to win the game and seal the league title for them. And also to Wallace High School Lisbon, who won the Ulster Schools Cup at the Kingspan Stadium in front of 8,000 spectators on St Patrick's Day. First time the school has won the cup outright, and they get more fans than the Ulster team at the minute.
Oh gosh, that's a bit
sorry.
harsh.
I'm joking.
You've gone positive into a negative. That's just you.
Yeah,
Low hanging fruit.
Well done, Wallace High School.
Yeah, well
Lisbon.
done. But nothing to do with Ulster. Just well done.
Thanks, lads.
Right, thank you.
Cheers, Rob.
Let's go get him, Andrew.
Cheers, James. Let's get on that flight, and here we go.
Let's go get him, mate. Are you all right?
I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited.
I can see you looking forward to it, which is the worry.
The heart's already pumping.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. Clear minds, full hearts.
And a big sleep on the plane.
Full belly as well. Belly. Rugby pod.
Spotted pod.